Everyone's talking about these miracle weight loss drugs like they're candy bars with zero consequences. They're not, and by the end of this video, I'll show you the one side effect that even doctors are just starting to understand. Plus what happened to a guy on Reddit who thought he could handle anything these drugs threw at him. Let's start with what the medical research actually tells us. GLP-1 medications like Ozempic and Wegovy don't just make you less hungry. They literally slow down your stomach's ability to empty food. Think of your stomach as a conveyor belt that suddenly got switched to slow motion. That's why 20 to 40% of users deal with nausea, vomiting, and what doctors politely call gastrointestinal distress. But here's where it gets concerning. Some people develop gastroparesis, where your stomach basically forgets how to work properly. And this can persist even after you stop taking the medication. We're talking about people who can't eat solid food for months. The FDA is also investigating reports of pancreatitis. That's your pancreas getting so inflamed it feels like someone's stabbing you in the abdomen. Then there's the gallbladder issues, kidney problems, and, a delightful new concern about eye strokes that can cause permanent vision loss. But sure, let's just inject ourselves with this stuff because we want to drop a few pounds for beach season. Now let's see what the influencer crowd is saying about all this. Dr. Peter Attia, who's basically the longevity guru for people with unlimited healthcare budgets, takes a surprisingly cautious approach. He's not anti-GLP-1, but he's obsessed with the muscle loss problem. Attia points out that rapid weight loss can lead to 25 to 30% muscle mass loss if you're not careful. His protocol? Start with the tiniest dose possible. Lift weights religiously and monitor your body composition like you're training for the Olympics. He's also big on checking pancreatic enzymes and gallbladder function regularly because, as he puts it, the nausea and vomiting can be so severe that some patients become malnourished. Thomas DeLauer takes an even more skeptical stance. He's the guy who turns every supplement into a 20-minute deep dive on mitochondrial function. DeLauer is particularly worried about what he calls hijacking the body's natural GLP-1 system. His concern? That 70 to 80% of people regain the weight after stopping these medications, which suggests they're not actually fixing the underlying metabolic issues. His approach involves trying to boost natural GLP-1 through diet first. More fiber, better protein timing, and if you do use the pharmaceuticals, cycle off them periodically to see if your natural hunger signals still work. But here's where it gets really interesting. Both of these guys agree on something crucial. You absolutely have to do resistance training while on these drugs, or you'll end up what Attia calls metabolically worse off due to muscle loss. So I went digging through Reddit to see what real people are actually experiencing. And let me tell you, the stories are wild. In our Zepbound, there's a whole thread called "What's Your Weird Side Effect?" And the responses are like a medical mystery novel. One user reported that their ears constantly feel echoey, and they can't pop them properly. Turns out this is something called eustachian tube dysfunction, and it's apparently a known side effect of rapid weight loss. Who knew? Another Redditor mentioned they developed a constant runny nose that happens out of the blue. Not allergies, not a cold, just random nasal drainage. Someone else in the thread identified this as vasomotor rhinitis, which is basically your nose's blood vessels going haywire because of the medication. But here's the plot twist that nobody talks about. One user with a history of heavy daily drinking said they haven't touched alcohol since starting their first dose. Not because they were trying to quit, they just completely lost the desire. They wrote, "I'll take odd unknown side effects over slowly poisoning myself any day." Then there's the guy who thought he was prepared for everything. He'd read all the warnings, started on the lowest dose, had his protein powder ready, and his workout plan mapped out. 3 weeks in, he posted an RPCOS about what he called the dark truth about GLP-1. The nausea was so intense he could barely keep water down for days. He lost 12 pounds in 2 weeks, which sounds great, until you realize that kind of rapid loss meant he was losing significant muscle mass despite his best efforts. The really eye-opening part? A recent analysis of over 400,000 Reddit posts found that people are reporting side effects that never showed up in the clinical trials. We're talking irregular periods, severe fatigue, chills, and hot flashes. The clinical trials missed these because they weren't specifically looking for them. But when you have hundreds of thousands of real people sharing their experiences, patterns emerge. Here's the thing, though, and this is important. For people who are genuinely obese or dealing with diabetes, these medications can be life-changing in the best possible way. The cardiovascular benefits for high-risk patients are real, and the weight loss can literally save lives. But there's a massive difference between using these drugs as a medical intervention and using them as a cosmetic quick fix. Remember that side effect I mentioned at the beginning? It's not just one thing. It's the fact that we're essentially conducting a massive real-world experiment on millions of people, and we're discovering new issues as we go. The Reddit analysis showed us that clinical trials, no matter how well designed, can't capture everything that happens when a drug hits the general population. So here's what you actually need to know. If you're considering these medications, have an honest conversation with a doctor about whether you actually need them, not whether you want them. And if even one thing in this video made you think twice about jumping on the GLP-1 bandwagon without proper medical supervision, hit subscribe. I've got more deep dives coming that might just save you from becoming someone's cautionary tale on Reddit.